Good morning and welcome to today's live show. This is Monday, April 22nd, and we are going to get into some technical analysis for the SPY Qs, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, AMD, and Meta moving forward, looking at Microsoft and Google as well. If you're not tuning into this live, just make sure to look at the last 15 minutes as we could be giving you guys a little breakdown at the end of this video. So the last 15 minutes, we will be breaking down some stocks as we do finish up the stream in a few hours. So tune into that last 15 minutes. Last note here, remember that for this week, because this volatility is screaming that it wants to go higher, even though we could see some kind of bounce in the market today, the volatility is remaining higher. So it'd be good to have a bear market strategy, an options strategy, because this market's about to get really hard to trade in. So I figured, we took a vote and I think 50 people wanted that course at some kind of discount. So my course down below is going to be $149 until May 1st. Okay. Maybe we do it till May the 4th for May the 4th be with you. But as of right now, just make sure if you're wanting to gain some more skills, this market is going to be harder to trade in. So you need those skills. I'm going to give a little discount over for the next for the whole end of the month here. So $149 for the rest of the month. It would be very, very good to take. It's very good, efficient, and it'll get you to understand these indicators and give you an option strategy. So appreciate you guys trickling in. Make sure to like the stream as you come in, and good morning. Grab your coffee because things are about to get wild. We got about 6 minutes till open. So I thought it would be good to kind of look through some stocks here. So 30-minute, what I want to pay attention to here, we're seeing an upward move. We're about to go to that daily expected move very early on in the day. Will this be able to confirm some of this divergence down here? I believe it will, but does that mean we're actually going to see this move outside of this daily expected move? We'll have to see going forward, but remember that if we see resistance here, maybe we want to double bottom. Maybe this is all the bounce we get and we keep heading lower. We have to see if things start to escalate in the geopolitical side of things, see if Iran responds, anything like that. Moving forward because of that attack Israel did. So for now, we have to see, are we going to break above this or are we going to use it as resistance? Very, very important. Now, the Qs look a little uglier, right? No real divergences or anything like that. So that could lead you to believe, hey, it needs some kind of basing out, some kind of tapering before it actually wants to head higher. So pay attention to that. Remember, we're reacting off of our 20-week moving averages for the SPY, and the Qs are below it a little bit. So if we pull up the weekly here, you're just going to see we're below it a little bit. So if we want to retake that by end of day, that would be pretty good. But remember, if you need to see, we posted a video last night. If you want to go over and watch that of where this market could actually go to new highs, it's going to be that 438.28. I think if you're able to take that back and use that as support, you got a good shot of this thing fully recovering. But notice how much room that's going to have to gain back. So I think at this point, you have to say any rollovers here, negative territory. So really look for any bounce here. Could be the next short opportunity. Don't get too bullish or too bearish out there. Apple, this thing actually bouncing as of today. Remember, it has a little divergence on the MACD, but not on the RSI at the same time. So it could come up right into a point of resistance. Where would that be? Well, it might be this little zone in between these lows. I think this zone in between these lows could be very important, right? And so we'll pay attention to that first. And then if it's going to see a strong move, then we could possibly even get all the way back up to this zone. I'm not going to, be ignorant and say that's not possible. I'm just going to be watching the signals very, very closely for any kind of turning down. Tesla, you might see that the price is way down. So Tesla's still seeing some downward price action. Remember, this price is getting tight, and now we're seeing that expand to the downside. So weekly expected moves are something we are going to need to pay attention to moving forward throughout the week. And we have big weekly expected moves. So if it is a good week, this whole month has been great to have those weekly expected moves for the individual stocks. It's given some setups. Obviously, we broke through those last week, but right now, Tesla, I would really pay attention to its weekly expected move as earnings is right around the corner. Remember, earnings is a 50-50 flip. Even if it tells you, hey, I got big divergence down here or something like that, earnings is a 50-50 flip. It literally can just drop you lower. So just be cautious with these earnings here. Tesla not having the best news all around. Amazon finally seeing that bounce. So we were really talking about a bounce for Amazon at this level. Is that just going to bounce to a price point of, say, like 180? And then we see that start to fade. So that's what we're going to be paying attention to. Any rollovers on this 30-minute, look how far down we are. We might need some kind of double bottom before we actually can go higher. We may just get a pop and break through these levels and head down towards 166.12. So just be open to further downside. Remember, we're looking for the next short opportunity because we're in negative trends on these shorter time frames. Doesn't say we can't get some kind of big reaction to go up. All you're going to have to see is these things actually go positive. So at this point, we could see a reaction all the way back up to 841.46 to test it, and then see that roll over. And then we could see this level test again. So as of right now, just pay attention to these MACDs rolling over. AMD, once again, not seeing the most strength. So this has been the dud lately, right? For the past almost month and a half, this has just been a dud. And now you're seeing that escalate, getting rid of the tapering. So I would be very, very worrisome about AMD on any kind of bounce as of this point, especially before earnings. So Meta, this one's seen a bounce right where we talked about in the video last night, right? Maybe it's going to make some kind of head and shoulders with all this. So we could see a reaction up to something like 510. We really could. We could see a big reaction here. You notice we've gotten big reactions from this zone. So this area here is very important, and we could see those buyers step back in at this point. Microsoft, this one here, looking for that maybe even a full retest. But as of right now, you have to say, well, what if it's just left, head, and then we come up to this point. Pretty much anywhere at these highs is where I'm going to be thinking. I really think this level actually right here, 416, looks very, very good for us to climb all the way back up, convince people, hey, this is a bullish market again, and then it's ripped away one more time. So I'd pay attention to that level on Microsoft. But you have weekly expected moves for Microsoft over on Patreon down below. Now, at this point for Google, this is probably the strongest looking one that I've seen. Still pretty bullish, really just kind of creating some kind of continuation triangle in here, kind of flagging out, giving you some little divergences between these lows, right? We see it on the MACD, we see it on the RSI. Google looks like it may want to make a move higher to maybe even test this high. So I'll be paying attention to a big move if Google wants it. It seems to be the one that's holding up the best. And as it opens, you can see we got a green bar going here. So what we're going to do for right now is just pull up the SPY. I think the SPY with the divergence is very, very good to watch, and we can see if we're going to get a reaction around that daily expected move. I think that's the main thing to pay attention to here. Be prepared for a green week. Yeah, it could be pretty green all around. Just know that we are in uncertain times. So anytime we see things rolling over in negative territory, we really have to be on our toes. Something we can look at before we look at silver is just gold. Gold really, looking like it needs some kind of pullback. Remember, I was looking at these 2-hour divergences all around, not able to confirm another upward move. Now we're seeing that gap pretty low here. So that's something to pay attention to going forward. I'm just going to do some quick little stuff here, making sure everything's all good. All right, we are all good. And just remember, guys, there were a bunch of people that voted they wanted the course at some kind of discount. So because we are in a time where volatility is starting to climb, and volatility can go in waves, right? It ebb and flows. So it could be coming down this week. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Volatility could be coming down this week, and the market could see a bounce, but anytime that ramps up, you need a strategy for when things are escalating to the downside. You can see some rips to the downside as we fall from these levels. So something to do, take a course, right? The course down below is going to be $149 until May 1st. I'm just making the price $149. You don't have to type a coupon code or anything like that. Just click the link down below and you can get it for $149 for the next week or so. All right, I think everything on my end is updated. There we go. I think we're good there. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning from the left coast. Bless you. Thank you. What's up, Luke? How you doing? What's up, Luke? Hope you're having a great morning. Great. Great morning. Some rough stuff going on, but that's not horrible. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. But so far, decent day so far, right? We're seeing a bounce in the market, so that means our next opportunity is coming. Where could gold hold up? And I assume, by the way, I'm looking at gold because I just assume silver's making a similar move, right? So we can pay attention to it daily on silver as well. It's at the 20, but that is a dramatic drop off. It's our first crossing over of this MACD here. We could see this just keep dropping for now. Where would it drop to? Well, probably to test some kind of level up here, right? Something like 24 would be a good area to test for silver just before another upward move comes. But looking back at gold, same thing, right? I'm really paying attention for a reaction to when it hits this 20-day moving average. I think that will be the most important point for gold going forward. I think that's where it's headed. But we got to see how these markets are going to react as we are selling off pretty good. So as of right now, seeing a little bit of a gap higher, but just remember, watch these 30-minute MACDs because this could be, some kind of little bounce that just leads to us curling back down. So in order for us to see a solid move here, you need this 30-minute to go positive on the MACD here. We have those daily ranges to help us out as well. I actually took a play on some downside for gold, so I am going to go ahead and get out of that position. I know that it's just now crossing and things like that. I'm just trying to be agile. I'm trying to be adaptive, right? That way I am always moving. And look at Google. Look at Google. That's one that we're paying attention to, right? Google over here. Boom, big move coming. Look at that divergence. Now we can see, is Google going to turn up on the 2-hour? We'll have to see. Looks like Google could see a big upward move. Maybe it creates another point of divergence for us. Maybe this is, some kind of consolidation at this point. And so we could see an upward move. Let's see what happens going forward throughout the rest of the day if we create that divergence or we just start to roll over on the 30-minute chart here. So we still need to get to positive territory, but that is a good move for Google going forward. Just moving around some positions this morning. But how are you guys doing? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. People want some Bank of America. Someone did mention that a second ago. Bank of America seeing a strong move here. Let's just look at it from the daily perspective, right? We got this pullback. Are we going to cross up positive territory? So looks like, if you're a swing trader, you're probably already in this move, right? You would have got in somewhere around 35.71. You're already making some money here. So from a swing trading perspective, this looks pretty good. MACD about to cross, RSI above the center line. You're above the moving averages. Looks pretty good. So we could see some kind of move higher. Where could that go? Well, let's make a point where we could maybe, see some of that fade. So right now we're making this point between these two. What if we get a big reaction all the way up to, something like 40, something like that could happen. And then we see that breakdown. So as of right now, we're holding up above those moving averages. Looks like we could curl up, but we will need a couple days, right? We'll need another day's worth probably because once we get up here, I'd be a little bit on the worried side. Meta seeing a strong move, 2% on the day, but really, I think the big teller is actually the Qs because they don't have divergence or anything like that. So I actually think the Qs, even with a good bounce here, even at holding at higher levels, could just roll down and then continue that selling. But we'll have to see. We have a bunch of earnings this week as well. Mass cash devaluation coming to a theater near you. Maybe I had to say every day was outstanding. Asked by Superior. Outstanding. Tesla's crashing. It really is. Look at that, 4% down. Now, what can we pay attention to? Well, let's look for Tesla. Let's look where those expected moves are at, right? So we're not even close to them, actually. Tesla has a big move in it as of right now. And we actually could go lower from here as you're spreading those Bollinger Bands on the shorter time frames out. I just have them up on the left side of my screen here. We could head lower is the crazy part. So even though we're seeing Tesla hold up here, we actually could react lower to the bottom of this zone. We literally could come like somewhere down in this area, which, as far as we know, it makes sense because, well, the options market's pricing it in. If you're part of Patreon, you know where Tesla, how low it can go. You know how high it can go. It's got a big range as of right now. Nvidia seeing a pretty solid move, right? 2.33%, but not able to curl up yet. You need these MACDs to really curl up, kind of like Amazon here. Like Amazon curling up, right? I think it might get into some trouble right around 180. So you got a couple points till you hit that. Where's Amazon's weekly expected move? Well, a little bit above it. So it's got some room to the upside. We'll just have to see if there's any curling over around that area. One thing was TLT, like these yields are still kind of holding at higher levels, wanting to go higher. TLT really breaking down from here, starting to curl down, right? If we go negative here, you can see another downward move, which means those yields are going to climb here just so you are aware. 10, 20, 100 SMA or EMA. It is a 5, 50, 200 SMA and a 20 EMA. So to pull this up on the daily, so the purple's my 50 SMA, 200 SMA, and then 5 and then 5 SMA and 20 is my EMA. Hey, say what you will about any stock, whether the news has been good or bad. We've seen bad news for a stock forever, forever, forever. You guys remember Apple around this area was like bad news during earnings, bad news, bad news, bad news. And then all of a sudden earnings comes out, boom, it explodes. And Apple was actually a big reason the stock market went higher around this area. So something like that could be happening. You notice Apple actually forming daily divergences down here. You have the potential to still go higher if things geopolitically can chill out. I'm just telling you on the shorter time frames, it's not as likely because we're still negative. So that's all I'm talking about there. But yeah, even though Tesla's been beat down forever, if it just produces really good numbers, says some really good stuff, it's probably going to see an explosive move, right? We assume it would see an explosive move based on our weekly ranges. Our weekly ranges are really big. ARM, we actually haven't looked at ARM in a little bit. So I'm down to look at ARM. Now, for this one, look at that sell-off. That's dramatic, right? So we want to look at the daily scale. Where's that holding up? Well, we're coming up into some gap support, so we can find support within this gap. But it really looks like, how close you would get to this gap, 77, right? This is a big move down. I would really start to think about, where this bounce could come and then play the down, right? You're very, 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 very negative here. You don't have divergence. So any kind of bounce here could be dead cat. And then that just does this and then does this. And then all you have to do is see, does this on the MACD, gets towards that center line, rolls over. So now we can just be patient and wait for that rolling over on the MACD here. I think Elon is one of the smartest guys in decades. I think he is too, but I really like Elon based on the freedom of speech thing, all that type of stuff. I really do. I didn't like him for the Dogecoin stuff. I think he was pump and dump scheming it to pay off some debt that he had to China. I really do. I think he was struggling to pay the interest on his debt that he had with China for Tesla and SpaceX, all that stuff. And now I think it's okay. It's like that period of time, I was like not a big fan of him. It was a pump and dump scheme, in my opinion. But for now, you have to say he likes freedom of speech. He's doing good things with Twitter, I think. He's even putting it like, how they have the fact checkers for like, Donald Trump and all these other people or whatever. And now he's like fact checking the other side, which I think is just hilarious. But overall, it's just like, he is a smart guy. It's very, very difficult to make a car company profitable. And I think that he's going to be able to do it. I really do. Now, the thing that you could say about the whole Dogecoin thing is like, what if he actually does see value in it and we're just wrong, right? What if I'm just wrong? I don't see value in Dogecoin too much. But the thing about Dogecoin is it did have shorter transaction times and things like that. So there was value there. It was very easy to trade back and forth. Bitcoin takes a little bit longer and things like that. So Dogecoin did have some kind of value, but does it have value overall compared to in the times we're in with inflation? Does it have value to where people are going to use it over the dollar? No, just because you can tip on Reddit and stuff like that. But that's something that no other crypto really did for a long time. Dogecoin did that. Yeah, look up tulips. Look up tulips in like the 1800s or something like that. That's pretty much what all these cryptos are until they actually have value. But right now they're not really. There's no actual intrinsic value. That's the way to do it. It's like I can walk up to you with 3 blades of grass and we can say there's value to it and trade it back and forth and trade it for stuff and use it as a currency. But is there really a lot of value in that grass? No. So if the computer shut off, we got a big problem with crypto. But we'll give you direct gold for their crypto. Wait, like you buy it and then they give you gold? That crash meltdown just on the horizon. Yeah, Richard, I just saw that. I truly believe that. Tell that to a cow. Hey, there you go. Cows trade grass as currency. Look at that. Cows really like that stuff, huh? I really want to go look. Actually, something I need to do. I need to half screen this. I need to half screen. Yeah, I can't figure it out, guys. All right, we're out of that. Back over so I can see what you guys are chatting about over here. Oh, god dang it. I just clicked on. Oh, man. Sorry, I pulled up my computer stuff on accident. Sometimes I accidentally click it. Don't make fun of me. Man, Amazon already fading that move. Is Google fading the move just a little bit? Google's got a big move in it too. Like, I wonder what things are going to do before earnings. That's what I would say. Before all these earnings come up, maybe there's another push down is all I'm worried about. Like, if we even want to go into a 5-minute, this thing probably still negative at this point. So actually 5 minutes starting to go positive. So you get the first sign of what's good, right? We need to get above this high. We can make some structure after that. You can see where we would scoop up liquidity right here. So if we do, pop up to even here, I would expect some kind of pull down and then we go back up. Maybe by end of day, we're closing at this level. That would be very, very good. That would mean this bounce might last a little longer. Because all these bounces up here, I want you to notice it never takes out the previous high. It won't get above this. It won't get above this. So now we have to see, is it going to get above this? That would be different. So that would be this time is different, but you can see we could make some kind of head and shoulders around this area. I would like to see us break through this high though, or else I'm thinking similar things happen. We roll over on the 5-minute, we head down towards that daily expected move downside. Pull this up on a 2-hour just so I can see these ranges. I have my ranges on. I set up a new watch list that has all the ranges up. This is the one that we're going to be showing a lot on Patreon. We're actually going to use this for Patreon pretty often. So now, we're still not trying to do anything too crazy today, right? We're still being patient, looking for this bounce. Even if you want to play the bounce, I suggest making sure to think of how you could be kind of screwed out of that, right? Kind of look for that 30-minute crossing down. If you're not breaking through this high and this 5-minute even crosses back down, you're probably going to test these lows again. So I'd just be very aware of that going on. Let's look here. Don't want to do anything too crazy. All right, now another thing we have to pay attention to throughout the day is going to be volatility. Volatility is going to be very, very important. Now, remember, we were talking about this 2-hour curling down, going negative. Look at that. Look at that starting to happen at this point. We see the divergence. big move down for volatility at this point. We have to see if that can go negative. If that starts to go negative, you start to lead towards maybe this daily crossing over. So once we do cross through this little trend here, we can cross down. Will we get a reaction from the 200, or will we just see bullishness come in for some time? So the 2 points to pay attention to for volatility is the daily scale. You want to look for this right here, and then you want to look for this gap right here. I think these two areas are the most important where you could see volatility come back in. But you can just watch the 2 hour at this point. If the 2 hour curls up a little bit earlier, that's going to be another moment of volatility. Boom can happen. The 30 minutes, something you can look at, but that has to go positive. It's starting to drift down into negative territory, and these drifts down can last a long time. So your real confirmation most likely going to be a 2 hour curling back up. So pay attention to the next curl up, because that would get you above 20. That's kind of why I'm leaning towards some kind of bigger pullback towards 15, and then we see that volatility come in. I think that would be the opportunity right there for volatility to go up going forward. Remember the dollar actually coming in pretty even here. Now you do have some cup, you have some handle, so we could actually see that head higher from here. So just be cautious moving forward. Volatility can turn up at any time, but notice as well, the dollar goes up while the stock market goes up. We will be paying attention to that type of stuff, because if this continues and we continue to go up while the dollar goes up, that means people are still selling into this move, and we may just react to that weekly and see that roll over on a 30-minute. I actually think that's possible. I think it would be a very, very good area to think about taking a position if you see the setup and we see that roll back down, because you could get a full reaction back down in this area. Now, the fact that you are taking this back means you're starting to lead towards what if it holds up right here. So you just want to pay attention to how you can get screwed. And that's overall, if we make structure here and turn up above this level, well, then you're probably not going to want to go short on this move. But as of right now, we have to pay attention. We need some longer signals here. Maybe Google holds the market up, right? Maybe Google does something crazy here, because this thing already curling up. What you pay attention to with Google, 2 hour curling up, positive territory if it can get there, right? So if it can get up here, that would be a very, very good move, I'm assuming, from Google right before earnings. And we know what levels to target at this point. As of right now, I'm just probably going to look for like a little, 5-point move or something on Google. What you guys doing? 2 critical weeks for sure. I prefer waiting to maybe go short or long puts after this bounce. Can't believe the correction is done until June, maybe. Yeah, and it could be a sell in May and go away type thing. That's why I brought that up over the weekend. We're in an area where we could see, a big bounce. People are still mainly bullish because of, I wouldn't say people are mainly bullish. People are bearish because of the geopolitical stuff, but are they bearish because of the inflation? Are they bearish for the reasons that this market will be ripped around over the next couple of years, probably? I don't think so. I think that if all the geopolitical stuff goes away, I think we're still going to head up. I think we'll probably get a good GDP print this week and still head up if we don't have any geopolitical news going on, because you have to think, economy's growing, so why wouldn't the price of these stocks grow at this point? Because that seems to be what's happening every single time. So Google kind of showing you that, saying, hey, I just want to make another move higher. There's no, not too much going on with all this price. Even this breakdown here, this could be some kind of move up, but I'm just stating how Google kind of telling you, yeah, I could make another move higher. Will that last? Because if I make this move up, I got earnings right around the corner. Is Google going to go to extremely higher levels? We'll have to find out. We'll have to look at those earnings and really see from there. So earnings estimate 1.51, 78.3, 1.59. So it is shifting down. Yeah, both of these numbers shifting down at this point. Resisting going into Nvidia. Nvidia, you got to be even more careful with, because it's ripping around, right? This thing is just ripping down, ripping up. Like, it's got some bigger moves, right? It swings up, big swing down, swing up, swing down, little flag here, swings way down, flag here, swings way down. So you'd have to say any pop here, just be cautious with it. That's all I would say. If this just rolls up, rolls back down, volatility starts to spike again. Might not be the best news. Good morning, Hector. Best bet is coiling and retest the low. And I think the Q's not giving you any kind of divergence tells you, hey, what we could see happen from here is like, what we could see happen from here is the Qs roll up for a moment, roll back down to test this low one more time, give you a better base. And then the SPY doesn't go test that low. So SPY maybe gets a stronger move, comes down, gives you a higher low at that point. That's what I'd kind of be looking for in this move. The main thing about the stock market is going to be this area right here, I believe, this week. This area is so important. Are we going to see that as resistance and we see some bad earnings? Or are we going to see some good earnings and see us break through that level and start to hold it? Remember, we came out of these moves to the downside last week. So now if the market makers are, say, down on some moves because they weren't expecting that, well, what if they just manipulate that thing up to here? That way they can get out of some positions and rip that away. Oh yeah, let's look at the Dow. The Dow, we had a simple trend line on and it started to, you see the basing out. That's what I'm talking about for the Qs. The Dow really basing out here and able to go positive. Now it is taking out these highs, making a series of higher highs at this point. So you want to see if that can really get sturdy to the upside. Maybe a 2-hour would be better to look at here. You see it climbing up towards the center line, right? We've seen a big downward move. Who's to say this isn't just some kind of bounce like this, and then that's ripped away. So as we approach the center line, just be more and more careful for this to roll over, even looking at a 30-minute, rolling over a couple times. Now, the 30-minute can roll over, roll down, roll back up, and then roll down again. So 30-minute, a little bit different here, but that 2-hour crossing over is going to be very, very telling. What else? Tesla is able to buy back up as of right now. So Tesla starting to make a little bit of a move higher from its open down here. Looking like we could see a move there. Nvidia still just ripping, just really ripping to the upside. Google starting to fade that move just a tiny, tiny bit up here. We expect some resistance at these levels. If we can break through this level, though, good shot. We're going to go test this high because you'll be curling up this 2-hour. So Google looks pretty decent. Salutations, Gabo. Hope you and the family had a great weekend. We had a pretty good weekend. Did you guys have a good weekend? And Sam L, thank you so much for subscribing. It's about to pop up on the screen. Wait, this way. There it is. 3, 2, 1. Go. Ah, damn it. Didn't call it, but Sam, thank you so much for subscribing. Really appreciate you. Make sure, guys, if you do need some kind of course or something like that, it's $149, literally for the next few days. It's literally like, what, about 10 days, that's going to be $149. So make sure to grab that course down below if you want to learn about these indicators, learn about the weekly ranges, and get yourself a little bear market strategy for when things are a little bit more volatile, which things are more volatile, which tells you the market's going to be a lot more difficult to trade in. It's not going to be a swing trader market anymore where you can just see a curl up of the 2-hour and that goes. Now, Google is showing you that right now, but let's just click on a random one like, say, Amazon. Amazon starting to fade that move a little bit deeper down into negative territory. So a curl up here wouldn't lead me to believe, oh, this is going to fully recover. Oh, shoot. I'm clicking on the wrong thing. And this here. Let's see, anything with a big move. Where's Nvidia's weekly? Yeah, and just to let you know, someone was talking about getting involved with Nvidia. I'm just gonna let you know that this zone right here, if you're part of Patreon, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. But this zone right in here between this gap, this is gonna be very, very important. I think some resistance could come in at this zone. We'll say it that way. Nvidia doesn't have the biggest move for the week. Like, it has a solid size move for sure. It always does. But there's other ones that have bigger moves than Nvidia, actually, percentage wise. And here we go. Look at the Qs at this point. I think this point we could see some kind of little 5-minute thing prove itself here. Now, you did have 5-minute divergence at this level. We're starting to test that high. This is a good sign. We're actually matching that high. This is where we can see some structure form, right? We can see that structure come in and maybe head up. Just be cautious. You're really close to negative territory. If that starts going negative, you could end up lower than these lows. So just be cautious here, but you do see the structure to head up. So if we want to pile up in this area for some time, this would make sense for a lot of the day. Then maybe end of day, we see some kind of rip higher. But on this channel, I like my 30-minute, guys. I like my 30-minute. SPY telling you, hey, I'm going to make an upward move. That's what SPY is saying at this point. Microsoft is extremely oversold on the 2-hour. I think this is maybe the thing too. What if we kind of get like a bounce around kind of day today, up, down, kind of choppy to the upside. And then tomorrow we get one good earnings or one bad earnings, and that's the whole thing that decides it. I think that's very possible. We're going to test 784 again on Nvidia. I actually think you could maybe go a tiny bit higher than that. I think you go to like somewhere in this zone. I actually think you could get up into here. 820 to 841. ARM looks like it's reversing. ARM can see a bounce. We went over this a little bit ago, but ARM looks like it could see a bounce. But I'd really just be watching this. If this goes up, see that curl down into negative territory. You just don't have any tapering. You don't have anything. You have selling, gradual drift off, selling, right? It is very, very vertical at this point. So if you want that to not be, as vertical going forward, you need to start to taper a little bit. That might set you up a divergence, and then we could take that play. As of right now, ARM looks like this might be a bounce. Play it if you want to, but I wouldn't be playing it because we're really deep in negative territory. So anytime that this builds up to the center line, crosses down, builds up here, crosses down, I'm going to look for that other move down. Then at that point, I will look for if we are tapering, if we're creating any divergence or anything like that. And this could just recover. It really could. If you're an investor or something like that, you like this level, 91, 88, that's perfectly fine. You're just within a gap right now, and I highly doubt that they're not going to go fill this gap down here, right? This looks like a lot better. Like right here, there's nothing really that's holding you up. There's nothing really that's holding you up. You're in a gap. So as of right now, you could say this area here, you have good liquidity. I'd rather take a chance with this liquidity here than where it's at right now. So be patient with it. Doesn't mean you can't react all the way to the 5 and then come back down and then see that reaction up later on, maybe with earnings. But as of right now, no real reasons to actually take a trade in my book. Good daily bar for Google, getting above that. Still want to see if this 2-hour is able to roll up. That's going to be the really telling thing if that 30-minute divergence is going to confirm upward. Let's see, anything making a good move here? Volatility down, UVXY down almost 10%. Great trade there, right? You saw the signals. 2-hour divergence here. Take a little play on UVXY. I don't know why I didn't do that. I tried it on a different thing. All right, let's leave it on the Qs just for a little bit here. I bought your course and I look forward to checking it out when I get home from visiting the grandkids. Well, say hi to the grandkids, Bernie, first of all. And second of all, if there's anything in the course you have questions about, message me on Patreon, man. Message me, shoot me an email or something like that. But I've only heard good things. I think there was only one person that could find something that we maybe needed more info on, and I just answered their question on Patreon, and then they were like, okay, that sounds more, they can understand it a little better. So, overall, I've only heard good things. Luke coming out last stream and just saying like, hey, I took the course and in the first trade I made all my money back. So he was able to make over $200 probably on one trade after taking the course. So that's awesome. And mainly people just saying, hey, I have a different outlook on stocks. So get it for $149, guys. It's a great deal. I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, I've talked to, people who have invested in the space for a long time. I've talked to other traders. They're like, you're crazy for putting this out there for that price. They're like, this is easily worth $1,000, or someone wanted me to list it for $2,000. And I was just like, no, I want it to be available for everyone. I don't really want to do something like that. Put the link to the course. Hey, BT616, that is down in the description, actually. So if you just look in the description, it's right there, and you'll see it says 149 until April 1st, or until May 1st, I'm sorry. And I might make that till May the 4th, because I like May the 4th be with you, because I'm a nerd. JS is just making some gradual money there with that 5.5%. Oh, and make sure you guys are subscribed as well, guys. Depends on its THC level. Oh god. Yo, I've got a bachelor party in Denver soon. Pumped. Who's in Denver? Anybody from Denver? I'll be there in about a month, and you're probably gonna see me like this. Oh. It was just 420. Oh, that's right. It was 420 over the weekend, guys. Bachelor party with a happy ending? Nah, no happy endings. Tyler, my buddy, he's way too in love to even probably. Well, he might go to a strip club. I don't know. I don't. I've only been to a strip club once in my life, and I went because I went once. I just don't think it's fun. I think it's gross. I don't think it's fun, guys. I know I'm probably being a sour, player here, being a sour guy, but I just don't think it's that fun. My friends always told me, they're like, yeah, that's because you can get girls. And I'm like, that might be it. That's how I see it, Hector. No. No. The one time I went to a strip club, it was with my friend who became a stripper, actually. So I actually got like VIP treatment when I went. Except here's the thing, when you go with a friend who's a stripper, do not give a bigger bill to a different stripper than your friend. She will threaten to hurt you. I made that mistake, guys, so learn from my mistakes. Just like trading, you guys learn from my mistakes, learn from my mistakes there as well. Oof, that was a rough time. Amazon! Duck. Where is my Amazon? There it is. Amazon, similar thing, right? You got like across the board, you're paying attention to similar things. Bounces on the 30-minute that lead to some kind of rollover. Shouldn't have to pay to play. Sexy that you don't like strip clubs. I don't. I think that they're like. I just don't see the point, honestly. But I'll go and have a great time. Like, don't think I'm not a good time. Trust me, I'm a great time. Me and my buddies, we have a blast. But I'm more going to joke around it. I'm not going to sit there like, oh yeah. No, I'm gonna be making jokes and stuff. Maybe I'll try it. God, dude, just the stuff that I've been roped into, guys. You would be baffled. That was quite the experience. Yeah, I went on a date with a girl who then became one later, and then I just like went with her once, and I never hung out with her again. But she's still very nice. Like, she has a whole family and stuff now, and she doesn't do that anymore. She's a very nice girl, and it wasn't even one that was nude, if you guys know. And I don't even know if we can talk about this stuff on YouTube, but it was just one of those ones where they like dance. They weren't even naked. Look at that, AMD just disappointing again. AMD is the most flaccid thing in the market right now. Top of the morning, Jeremiah. SPY moving more volatile. So this is where we pay attention to volatility. Okay, volatility creeps up and the SPY creeps down at the same time. That's what we'll pay attention to. We can still see a retest of this level. It's not really breaking down right now, though, guys. Something we probably should be looking at is just the little bit shorter time frame to see, okay, we're testing these levels, but notice this, we haven't taken out this high yet, and that keeps happening. So we keep getting to the point where we're like about to, and then we don't break through it. We keep getting to the point where we're about to, and we don't break through it. So this could just continue down in the same structure we've been seeing. Now, you do have tapering here, so that's a good thing. Oh, dude, I don't even want to party with them, man. I went out with a couple of them once, and I was just like, I can't do this. I was like, I can't. I was like, I don't know how they do it. They're crazy. Nope, I really like my life now. I like the chill life. Meta, we haven't looked too much at Meta. Meta's seeing it did see a good move. It's fading that entire move. One thing about Meta on this little 5-minute here, you were able to take out this level here. So this would be a time where if you're able to create this right here, if you're able to maybe not go fully negative on this 5-minute, you could see a second move higher. We'll have to see. Mainly with Meta, though, and a lot of these, it's just 30-minute curls up. Will it curl back down? As of right now, you have, Meta at a pretty important point. If it starts to lose that, it's not looking very pretty. Nvidia starting to fade this just a little bit here, but you're holding above right here. So we have to see if these can even turn up on 30 minutes first. Right? We have to see if that can happen. Apple as well. This looks pretty flaggy in here. It's not really seeing a strong move, so we could just continue that trend until some actual good news comes. As of right now, if we're below this area right here, then it's probably going to turn back down, right? So until we actually are able to break above anywhere, that's when I'll pay attention. As of right now, just seeing the MACD curl up. See that curl back down maybe on a 5-minute. When do earnings come out? All week, man. Just go to Earnings Whisperer. Now testing 784. Well, it's drifting down from here. So now, okay, this is what I would look for on Nvidia since this 30-minute. It seems like it's going to struggle to turn up. What I'd really look for is actually a retest of the lows. That would be very, very good for a trader. If not, then you could probably base out a little higher, but I think that you have a good shot, like getting a trap, fill, trap, bounce tomorrow. I think you can pay for some stuff, but if you just go to Earnings Whisper, like you just type it in on Google, you click on it, you click the calendar, it'll tell you everything. Or at least it'll tell you like the main 10 that are happening or something like that. Hey Dubs, I'll take a look at it. Hold on one sec. You think Pepsi is topping out? Let's see if Pepsi is an opportunity, guys. So let's go look if Pepsi is an opportunity. Wow. Okay. That is oh my word. Okay. We have to go extremely crazy here. Now, I would say this is a strong move. This is one like, when you see a move like this, it's hard to bet against it because this could just keep going. You're above the 200, you've broken down for a long time. Now, on the weekly scale, you could say maybe we're doing some kind of flagging like this at this point, right? So pretty much something like that looks to be happening. What could happen here that gives us a signal that it's actually going to go down? Well, I'd actually look for some kind of divergence on the daily, maybe up here. This might actually prove to be some kind of divergence because on the shorter time frames, it's just going. It's just going. You're getting those now. This is the resistance. I think you're right in saying there's going to be some kind of resistance here. But just note, Pepsi, right? Boom, this is your cup. What if you just create a handle and that's all you get? So even if this does pull back, and this is a big move, so the pullback could be a little bit more like this. But what if you just create that handle at that point? So still a strong move. Wouldn't want to bet against it. You're above the 200 even on the daily now. So if you wanted to think about this move, well, most likely what happens here is we pull down, then we get a pop-up, then we see some kind of divergence at this level. That would give me a reason. But I totally understand if you would think about like, hey, I'm an investor in Pepsi at these levels, or I took a trade at these levels and now I'm looking for a place to get out. Well, some resistance right there. But I think this pullback will be pretty good. Now, if you're going to see that pullback, you want to see some signals here in the 5-minute. It's showing you that divergence as of right now. But I would really, because the 5 minutes so quick, look for that to start to break the trend, right? So break through this little trend that's going on here, maybe lose the 50 for a moment. Then you're going to see this start to do that. Then maybe that's all the handle you get and you start to turn back up. It's a bullish move. And you do have earnings coming up, so I wonder if that sentiment holds until earnings, which is, oh wow, that is tomorrow morning. So, ooh, careful with that. Just be cautious, guys. Like, it's just, there's going to be something else to trade. Even after earnings, you can trade fades and things like that. It's just, um, be careful around earnings. I know there's a ton of them and a ton of people want to play them. You'd be much better sitting on the side, taking my course down in the description, and then, it's 149 for the next few days. Wait for the craziness to continue, wait for volatility to increase and things like that. Just be patient, look for those signals, and then you'll be able to tell if this thing's going up or if it's going down. And then if it goes into a bear market, you'll just have a great trading strategy. You really will. Looking, I have these like organized improperly, and it's really. Felipe Granada, thank you so much for joining the Patreon. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Welcome, welcome. Alrighty, let's see what you guys are chatting about over there. I made the wrong. No, I made the right play. You're pretty much negative until you take back like, well, that's like daily scale. I'm pretty sure you're like negative until you take back, at least on the Qs. Pretty sure you have to get back above like 438. Like you really do. In order for this thing to be fully bullish again, you have to be above this level right here. So I don't necessarily pay too much attention to it. Obviously, I know the times when we are, boom, now coming down to this level, but pretty much you would just say once you're above this purple stuff here, right above this, that's where you can see the bullishness start to come in. And then if you get above this, that means we're probably going to a new all-time high if we can get above 438.28. Apple, are you just going to surprise everyone and explode? Tesla, are you just going to surprise everyone and explode? I don't know, man. Triple divergence. Usually, like, kind of tough to tell. So our Nvidia or our Tesla earnings, like, okay, tomorrow night. So we want to see the reaction before then, but. If you have a code for earnings system before I sign up, I'd like to refer you for your credit if possible. I don't even pay. Like, look, I'll show you guys what I do on earnings. I literally don't even pay for it because, like I said, earnings. All I need to know is there is earnings on a chart, and then I'm like, okay, I just don't trade around that. I literally come to this. I click calendar. I hit the day. Boom, you get all this. Right? So then we can hit calendar, hit Tuesday. Now, when you subscribe to them and stuff like that, I think it just makes it prettier. You pretty much see like everything. But really, I only care about what Tesla. Like, as far as my trading goes, I really only care about Tesla. There's a bunch, but Tesla up here, 0.49, 2020, or 22.71 billion. And then you can look like what was their previous. Damn, that's bad. Damn, that's bad. What are they doing? That was the last good one. When was that? July? I mean, yeah, but that's how I do earnings whisper. I just literally do this, and just so I can see what's coming up. So Visa going to be very important. Tesla, credit cards and things like that are defaulting more and more. You're welcome, Fabiola. Yeah, literally, if you just look at that, it's just to keep things straight. But like I said, I just don't really trade around anything with earnings, so I'm not going to be trading Tesla. No, it doesn't. So if you want the plus minus moves for the week, you actually have to join Patreon, Ray D. I mean, at least for the weekly ranges, right? I wonder what is going on here. Oh, you're still tapering at this point. You're not like hitting a bottom of a channel or anything like that. Yeah, I think the thing that I saw as really, really bad for Tesla is them no longer trying to make like a more affordable, because that would be huge. We talked about that for a long time. That would be huge. But J&J, I think it would be huge if Tesla actually did make like a $25,000 electric car. That'd be sick. But it's very, very hard to do. J&J, remember, this is the area where you can see that bounce. We were talking about that going forward. You're tapering off, right, between these lows. Now, did we see any signals to take a trade? You're below the 200. Did we see anything to take a trade here? Well, not necessarily, but as that 2 hour gets closer and closer to positive territory, you could see a big reaction. That earnings, a little bit lackluster there, but we could see a reaction up. Just be careful as you approach center lines on the 2 hour and 30 minute, because you could just roll back down. So you want to see that 30 minute going positive. It's going to be positive at this point. Now you're looking for possibly some kind of pullback. I think we pull back down in this level, but you'd have to say, hey, Cup, maybe we create that handle, start to head upward. The stock has a mind of its own. Was it fake news? Hybrid is the future, at least for the next 30 years. We actually talked about that, and I said hybrids are probably my favorite thing, just because you have a little bit of both. I still think, you guys, gas-powered cars is going to be the most important thing. Like we, as a country, if everyone switched to electric, we couldn't even handle it. You couldn't handle it. Who watches Arrested Development? All right, so now you're not necessarily seeing a dramatic sell-off. You're seeing controlled, a little bit controlled selling. So now we do have the opportunity. Left, head. What if we have this right shoulder by end of day and we start to scream upward? Now, Tesla was tomorrow night, correct, for its earnings. I just want to be clear on this guy. Tomorrow night, right? Yeah, tomorrow night. So if we do see a big bounce tomorrow, just be careful with it. You do have daily divergences and things like that. Apple even giving you a little divergence there, but Apple doesn't have earnings until May 2nd. So we'll keep the course at 149 until May 4th. I think that's the best way to do it, but grab that down in the description. Tell you what, I'll get the Patreon thing going and buy the course to support you. Hey, that's awesome. I really appreciate that. And tell me what you think. If there's anything that JS you see that could make it better, or something that needs to be more clear, just hit me up. Tell me what you think. I'm not trying to leave it forever and just not ever do anything with it. I really think that I just overall want it to be beneficial the whole way. So if I can make it better over time, that would be even better. I got to stop saying better. I just said better like 1,000 times. All right, so now on the 5 minute for the Qs, just pay attention if this wants to go negative, because we didn't take out this high again. So pay attention if the 5 minute actually goes negative, not necessarily crossing right away, right? We're going to have to cross to most likely dip down into this level. It's once it goes negative. So once it goes negative, then oh, we're probably heading towards the bottom side daily expected move. Just bought the course. Anthony, thank you so much for buying the course. Really appreciate that. Tell me what you think. Like I said, message me on Patreon, do all the stuff, guys, because I always am here willing to make it better, but I've heard such good things that I really haven't had to update it too much. Take out my bad habit for a second. I just want to see, and I have it up on my left. I'm just watching things. I thought this would be more helpful, right? I'm always trying to make it more helpful. So on my left side, I'm just looking for stocks that make moves outside of their weekly expected move. We haven't done that on any stock yet. No stock has moved outside of the weekly, which we expect. It's Monday. But by tomorrow, late tomorrow, that's when we'll be paying attention to that. Okay, so as of right now, that selling did just increase a little bit. I would really look for, if this 5 minute goes negative, then you can target the bottom side expected move, which is actually kind of good, right? It gets us into this zone. This zone's going to be very important. We have a lot of, liquidity in this big zone down here. So touching into this zone would make sense. We didn't even really touch the top of it yet. You see Apple in high 140 before we bounce. Apple, Right now you're looking kind of flaggy. So if you just do something like this, you can tell, like, right, we do something like that. We can even clone that bad boy, right? We can go like this. Doesn't that look like a flag to you? So do I think Apple's going to recover from here? Well, right now the trend is down. So all I have to do is probably look at a 30 minutes, see that curl up, see that curl back down. So am I taking a shot on Apple yet? No, I'm really not. I'm just watching the bounces happen from here. You're on point mostly, but I'll humbly try. You're much more versed on charts than I am. Hey, that's perfectly fine. And you're versed in all kinds of other stuff that I'm not. So I see your comments all the time, and I feel like I'm learning a little bit. So that's kind of the cool part about the stream. It's like I have a skill with chart analysis. I have a skill with just reading the charts pretty quickly, actually. I'm pretty quick to see these things, and I figured out how to do weekly ranges. I figured out a strategy around that. That's all the stuff in the course. You learn all that. But then live, I actually get to hear some comments from you guys and even learn or get a different take or gain a different perspective as well. Death to Nvidia. Oh God, we don't. Remember, this is where I was like, there's no real structure here to hold you up. So you at least want like a 5-minute divergence or something. Just know the weekly expected moves for Nvidia. Not huge, but still big. It's Nvidia. It's always freaking big, right? So Nvidia is huge. So with Nvidia coming down like this, pulling up a 15-minute maybe. Yeah, no 15 divergence either. I think you make a divergence here and then you have the opportunity for a bounce. I think a divergence on the MACD here would be very, very good. Just know this crossing over, it's right near negative territory. We could head down towards something like 700 very quickly. So just be careful with that. Do I think we get all the way down there? Most likely we don't, right? Most likely we don't. But you have to be open to it at this point. Now, you haven't confirmed on that 5-minute MACD down, so just be patient with this. But we could fill that gap and base out, and it could be a trick. But as of right now, you're right next to negative territory. So you would say the most likelihood here is that this negative trend is going to continue. Maybe down towards the 740. Maybe even this is an ABC move, right? Maybe this is just an ABC move and we're going to do something like this. Boom. And I know it's more than an ABC move with all these moves up here, but I'm just saying in the near term, okay, what if we do something like that? Go down towards 740. That just happened to line up. That's awesome that lined up and I said 740, but I look at charts way too much. But a lot of stocks are in areas where they can create that way up. So you notice the SPY a little bit further into positive. So now you really have to say this has to go negative for me to say, oh yeah, this low's being taken out and maybe I can target the bottom side daily expected move. I think that the structure here looks decent, but we've been, structure that's looked decent has really screwed over the stock market over time here. So just really pay attention if this actually goes negative on the 5-minute. That might be pretty telling. The Qs, you're seeing that crossover. Now you just don't want to go negative. You can come fill this gap. That's perfectly fine. But if that gives another, 10 minutes of red, you're probably heading down towards the daily expected move downside there. That's something to worry about. Now, when you do see these tick up, and IWM, I forgot to make the ranges for, but we're going to do that next week. I'm going to start giving out IWM on Patreon as well. Some people asked for it, but you want to see if this 30-minute can curl up in volatility. That would tell you that something a little bit more dramatic is happening. Now, as that's happening, we could see the dollar start to fade here as well. So just pay attention going forward. We're going to see, like I said, it's going to be a very difficult market to trade in, right? That's why we're doing the thing with the course. It's going to be a difficult market to trade in. So what we're going to have to do is gain some skills. What we're going to have to do is be on our toes. And right now, there's no moves outside of weeklies. That's why this week, I'm really going to wait for the perfect move. I'm only taking good trades this week. Only taking ones that look 5 reasons to take a trade. You know what I mean? Bought to fill that gap last night on the SPY. Hey, nice. Can you check the S&P? Yeah, we're just looking at that right now. Mainly looking at a 5-minute. We're just seeing if this thing can actually go negative, which I know the S&P is what you want to look at, but for now, it's the Qs are more telling. If the Qs can actually go negative here, that would be very, very bad. Now, if they just test this low, they make a quick little divergence, we can pay attention to that. It is a 5-minute rollover worth taking a trade? Probably not. There's not enough room down here unless you're a seasoned day trader, right? And you know what you're looking at. But as of right now, this would just tell me, hey, likelihood to curl down here is pretty high, but we can hold up here if we want to get bullish from here. We could test this low and get a double bottom. We need some structure. We've tapered, but does that really give us the retest and go up? Maybe something like that's going on here. So let's see what other stuff's fading. Tesla starting to make that second move down from here. That's interesting. Apple actually not breaking down too far. You're welcome, Mark. I'm just an ape, but something serious is happening at AMC stock. History is repeating itself just like 2020. Be ready. I've heard that a lot lately. I'm perfectly fine with that happening. I think it was hilarious when it happened. I didn't play in it at all, but if they're shorting this into oblivion, you could see that again. I mean, you do have divergences down here, but they're not necessarily on the RSI at the same time. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a fool me once, shame on what? Shame on you. Fool them twice, they're going to say shame on me. I think they're prepared for anything crazy like that to happen again, unless they're just stupid, which we know people can be real stupid. Already sold out of my gold here. Didn't sell the upside. I actually took a play to the downside, made a quick 90% this morning. Nvidia sad but smiling. Oh God, Nvidia. So many people sad. 5 minute, right? Yeah, 5 minute. This thing goes negative. Hasn't crossed over yet. Like, there's still some hope there. There's still some hopium. Hey, you're just calling out those levels. BT's on top of that Nvidia stuff, my dude. Love it. Ow. My eye squeaks, guys. Guys, hear my eye? I don't know why this eye does this. Oh, now it's not going to squeak. Hey, that's cool with me. Stop squeaking. All right, let's go have a look across here. Now you're negative, so you'd say downside is more likely. You're crossing over and you're negative. So unless this is able to buy back up from right here. Wait. Oh, AMC? Yeah. I was like, AMD? Like, if AMD did that, that'd be crazy. Weirdly enough, AMD on the 5 minute, this is kind of what you want to see. You want to see a test of the lows here. That curls up. It's right by positive territory. This is where it can reverse around. But I would just be careful with AMD. This thing has just been terrible for so long. Now, investing-wise, if you wanted to go with that kind of thing, I could possibly see some reasons. Maybe about to test the 200. Good area there. Google, this one originally looking good to the upside, right? Now starting to fade a little bit. That's perfectly fine. There's going to be pullbacks in the move. Let's see this level here. We were able to come up pretty much around there. Cup handle, right? Or maybe this is some kind of weird left shoulder. You got the head. We're making that right shoulder. So Google's still looking all right. I think Google looks like maybe the best one to go up from here. Oh, we haven't looked at Netflix today. We actually probably should. Good divergence there. See if we can test this low again. If we're going to do that, that's perfectly fine as well. Test that low, head higher. Netflix. Oof. Ugly, ugly, ugly. What did we say? Oh, look at that. 543 actually got tested. Well, that was the daily range from from Friday. So that was the daily range for a Friday, and now this is actually where we could see some support. Now, why could we see support here? Gap. We have a gap support right in this area. So actually, 843 going to be pretty important going forward. This one up here doesn't mean anymore. Drop lower today? We'll have to see. I mean, there's opportunity for it to head higher, right? We want to pay attention to a 5, and I think the Qs are the most important. Because this is really what you want to see. You want to see if it can base out right here. Because if this goes negative, that would not be good. Because that means you're probably going to at least test this low, if not go make a new one, maybe even target that daily expected move downside. But if it can not go negative here and turn back up on a 5-minute chart, I know it's crazy, a 5-minute chart, but you do have structure for that to head up from here. So just pay attention to that going forward. We just shorted again. Not yet. Look, guys, we have time. We have a lot of time. Okay, the Qs, I'm just going to tell you, this is probably not all the relief you get. You probably get a little bit more than that. This area here is where I'd really be paying attention. I think this area is very important. If we get through that, this area is going to be very important because this will say, okay, sturdy lower high, right? That would say sturdy lower high if we fail there. But this would also say, if we can retake that, that's actually where the market turns back to bullish. So for now, 5 minutes very important. I know we don't look at a 5-minute chart a lot, but notice when volatility gets higher, a 5-minute chart becomes pretty important, right? Video earnings are so overhyped that it needs to correct quite a lot in order for it to not turn into an avalanche sale. Well, just know that Nvidia earnings are like pretty far off, aren't they? Aren't they like May 20 something? May 22nd. They're pretty far off. So weirdly enough, you got a lot of time before that stuff. And remember what I said in my video over the weekend. What if we go up higher and then we see the sell in May and go away crowd? I actually think that's a big possibility. Wouldn't that fake everyone out? We see this dramatic sell-off because of geopolitical stuff. Then we get a good GDP. We get good earnings. We da-da-da-da-da. And then we go to an all-time high again and sell in May, go away happens. That'd be interesting. I would just say, you know, keep all the scenarios in mind and then just watch the charts and be like, if this scenario were to play out, what would happen on this 30-minute chart? That's kind of how I do things. I'm just always taking a trade, but I'm always thinking of, you know, how I can be screwed out of the move. You think, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's give a little sentiment check here. How do you guys think we end on the day? Do you think it's green or red? Go. And thank you, Anthony. I just saw that purchase of the course there. I really appreciate that, my man. Tell me what you think. Red, 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 green, 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 green. Few greens, red, 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 red. Looks like slightly red off a big bottom, red. So most people saying red. But we're good traders. We're not going to be contrarian with how we see things. We're good. So Goog backing off. Yeah, so Google actually makes sense to back off a little bit, right? You're coming up into a point of liquidity. What happens here? Well, we're going to see resistance, but we can pull back down, get this 5-minute close to this center line and see that curl up. I actually think that's the moment where taking a play on Google could be there. Looking at the micro, right? Seeing this pull down like this, curl back up, positive territory. So yeah, Google though, you have to know this is confirmed. 30-minute, you need to go positive though. That's the big thing, right? So 30-minute needs to go positive. Maybe you look at an hourly, right? Hourly, this guy needs to go positive as well. So you're still looking for that overall strength to come in, but you see the left. We could react up to here, create a right shoulder. All right, boop, boop, boop. So if we need to grab more liquidity on the way up, that's perfectly fine. So if I was looking at Google, I would literally just be on a 5-minute right now. Looking for that to cross down, cross back up. I think that would look pretty good, actually. AMD curling up right next to positive territory on a 5-minute, guys. We could see a 5-minute bounce in AMD. Yeah, okay. Okay. Meta actually creating some stuff here for a base. Good tapering. Pretty good tapering here for Meta, even though that big reaction down. Microsoft, see the tapering. Look at this. It's testing the lows. If we can get a reaction from down here, it's not that bad. The ones that are kind of bad are the Netflix. Hey, look at that. 5-minute divergence on Netflix right at 543.31. The area that we got from those daily expected moves last Friday, showing us it's important, which makes sense. It's right by that gap support, so you have gap support here. That'd be interesting if a little 5-minute divergence is what leads to a big pop in Netflix. SFZI, this thing looked terrible as well. Coming into the bottom of our zone, we lose it for a second. We're back up. So we cut through this zone. Now we're struggling, kind of tapering off in this zone. We'll have to see if this can get some kind of reaction. Just know this about SMCI. Now, sell zone, buy zone. This is pretty much maybe going to be a range. So you could see boom, then boom, then boom, then boom until something breaks. But did the Qs go negative yet? They haven't. They look like they kind of want to, but they haven't. SPY holding up a lot better at this area. Now, if SPY wanted to dip a little bit lower, that's okay. That would mean the Qs are going to dip lower, but they're just going to create a divergence, touch this zone. So you have to be open to that. So if you're like, hey, I want to go short here. I want to go short here, and I'm going to play the daily expected move. Okay, how could I be screwed? Well, if this goes like this and then crosses up, what would be right there? Positive territory. So this happens, I know, hey, don't take downside. It's too risky. That's all it is. It's too risky. Even if that downside move happens, this is a very good thing to do as a trader, right? Good to practice those good habits. As of right now, though, you just have head and shoulders forming. See if Google can catch a bid at some point. Some people paying attention to Google out there like to see it. Oh, no singing. No singing. Sorry about that. What you guys talking about? Can you check the yield on the 10-year? Yeah, we can look at the 10-year. This guy here, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's do daily scale, right? This is where we can drop off, but you'll notice one thing here. The geopolitical news is what caused this wick right here. So that tells you if things escalate overseas, well, TLT is probably going to rip and these yields are going to pull down. But the funny thing about this bar was 2 days before when we saw this, I was saying, okay, now we're probably going to go retest 4.495, and we literally go to like 4.495 during that craziness, and then it buys back up. It's just, these aren't things that I'm like, oh, I predicted it. I just think it's cool to see. So I think it's fun. It's a good thing that I get excited when I see things on a chart, right, that happen, because like I do it for so long every single day. I even like to this week, you guys, by the way, this week I'm taking very, very seriously. I even have my book. I have my book with my notes in it for this week. So I'm going to be taking notes at the end of every single day. So you know it's serious when you got the handwritten book that you don't want to put on your computer out. SPY's feeling like it wants to drop. It feels like it wants to drop. It feels like. Do we need to have a psychology lesson, guys? Do we need to have a psychology lesson? I'll give you guys a psychology lesson of how you can probably be a better trader. All right. So if I go look at the SPY, if I go look at the SPY on, say, a 30-minute and I see the divergence. All right, here we go. SPY on a 30-minute. Let's go through this with a psychological mind. Okay, let's say I am a trader and I say I feel like this should drop. Let's say I think that this can drop. Are those things definitive? What do you actually want to figure out? You want to figure out what's really happening, what I really think, what I really know is going on. So knowing is a lot different. So what you have to do is you pay attention to the signals. Okay, we see this, we see this. We know one thing in this area. There is potential for a good bounce to possibly get into positive territory. Now, I feel like that is going to happen. Is it happening right now? No, I'm not in positive territory. So I have to be cautious for any kind of drop. So what I want to do is look at a 5-minute. Okay, let's look at this. Okay. I think that this will drop off, but I know there's 30-minute divergence. I know there's 30-minute divergence. So therefore, if this curls up, that 30-minute divergence has even more potential to go positive. So I want to be careful taking any kind of downside here because a 30-minute signal is better than a 5-minute signal. And I'm not even seeing the 5-minute go negative. So I feel like this should drop off, right? Maybe that's someone's thinking right now. But is it? Is it in negative territory? Are you seeing these signals that'll tell you it will drop off? Not necessarily at this point. That goes negative, then I could start to say that. Sorry, I'm not trying to talk to you like you're like a little kid. It's just, it's important to get the differences in the words, right? So you want to more so go based off of what you're seeing in front of you, what's really happening in front of you, not saying things like, I feel. Now, I say those things too, but am I going to take trades based on them? And maybe that's what you're doing. Maybe you're just talking out loud, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm just saying more, it's great to say the I think and I feel because you're going to get the ideas. But then from there, underneath that statement, say something like, okay, but what would exactly what do I have to see in order for that to switch from an I think, I feel into an I know, right? That's what you have to do. So let's do this again. So what is the I know at this point? Well, I know there could be a bounce. I feel like this could switch the trend. I feel like this could switch the trend and go into positive territory. But is that happening right now? No. Now, if I wanted to see if that's going to happen, I could say, oh, if this 5-minute curls up, we get above this daily expected move, then I know that that trend is shifting. And I can start to look for pullbacks, get into the move. And I hope people were able to understand that. I'm kind of doing it on the fly, but I studied a lot of psychology. I'm kind of a nerd about it. I watch psychology channels that like watch serial killers and stuff, and shows their body language, which is really cool. Thank you for telling me that, Georgie. Thank you. Shoot. All right, and Rick, thank you so much for taking the course. Really appreciate that. I hope you like it. 149, guys. 149 for the next like 10 days till May 4th. I think I'm gonna do. Thank you for telling me about the Patreon thing. Been a crazy week. Let's go pin the new one. I'm so sorry, DB Trades. I was supposed to make those IWM ranges for you. Maybe we can make daily ranges. Wait, did I pin that? All right, 505.82. Okay, it should be updated. Thank you for telling me that. Really helps a lot because I don't want people to be confused. Alrighty. And we're back to it. Hopefully you guys like that little bit of psychology. Bro, I watch your live every day. You are a very helpful analyst. Hey, thank you. I really appreciate that, Rapid. Really, really appreciate that. So Paul E, but going back to it though, so if you are going to see another drop in the SPY, the way you know is this is going to go negative. This is going to go negative. It is how you know, like, we're going to test the low or go to the bottom move. As of right now, you have a very high likelihood to hold up. We're not even testing lower levels. We're not going negative. And you still have a 30-minute divergence behind the SPY. Qs, little bit of a different story, right? There's no 30-minute divergence. So there is no, I know that this has potential for a bounce. So you want to watch this one a little bit closer. Right? This could be flagging. This means that the SPY could probably hold up and make a higher low, but the Qs could actually head down into this zone. And then from here, you'd want to pay attention to any kind of, 15, 30-minute, 5-minute divergences at this level. But as of right now, we're just starting to creep into negative territory. But this is where you would say, okay, Qs actually do have a good likelihood to come down from here, right? But until the SPY is able to fully break down, this is looking pretty flaggy. It looks like some downside might be coming now. But that the Q is able to go negative, now you have an argument for, hey, we're going to test the lows from the previous day, or we're going to go head down to that daily expected move, the downside. 5-minute charts, though, guys. That's why I don't trade 5-minute charts. Yeah, I don't do 5-minute charts very often unless I see a bunch of signals and I'm looking for a great price to scale in. Like I have a 30-minute divergence that's about to confirm and I'm looking for a way to scale in, right? So remember the SPY here. I'll show you guys this. This will be for you guys only. And if I show you guys this, then you guys would really like the course if you like this, because this is something that's very, very cool. Sometimes you can do this. If you see a few divergences at the same time and you see this level down here and you've seen a dramatic sell-off and you want to get a great price, what do? Sometimes I do go into a 5-minute and I look for any kind of little divergence in here to start to scale in. So actually right here, I've been calling a bounce for a long time, or not a long time, a couple days now. And right here, this bar right here was telling you, all right, there's a big potential for a reversal and trend on the 5-minute right there. So imagine 495, and then we go all the way up to 498. Looking at the micro can help you out a lot. 1 and 4 hour chart, but make moves on a 5-minute and 15-minute chart. Well, if you're doing a 1 and a 4, that makes sense. A 4 hour and a 1 hour work pretty well together. But if you're doing a 1 hour and you want to see the microstructure, a 15-minute is probably your best bet. I think a 15-minute will help you a lot. Because I use 30-minute, I need to go a little bit lower to find that. But because you're using an hourly, that means you're actually probably you're looking for a better confirmation. So a 15-minute actually will help you. But if you see signals on the 5-minute too, I totally understand that thinking. It makes total sense. Let's go look around here. Let's look at Apple. Apple's still looking flaggy. So this is one you'd want to pull up a 15-minute. Look at this. Look at that. I'm going to tell you right now, this behavior right here, not the best for Apple. That is telling you there's most likely going to be a continuation move here. This move in Apple really looks like we are about to possibly continue going down towards like a 162 or something like that. So right away with Apple, I'm just thinking, hey, let me look at my moves here. Where could we head down to? Okay, we could head a lot lower. So this one here, if you're looking for, opportunities that are giving you, hey, some kind of reason to take a trade, if this crosses over into negative territory, you're most likely going to see a downward move. And then we do have that weekly expected move down below that you can get on Patreon. So this looks flaggy. That's all I'm saying about Apple. And this is the behavior that you're looking for, right? Behavior. Get up towards that center line. I know this is wonky, but look, we get up towards that center line. I don't care if it's wonky. It's going down. So right now the trend's saying, hey, I'm going down from here. No. Alrighty. Well, what is going on with the rest of the market here? And even now, like now we're starting to break through. That's very worrisome. So here's the other thing too, paying attention to multiple things. This is why I'm glad I have ADHD. Because I pay attention I flip around so much that I see things, right? So Apple telling you, hey, I'm going to crush down. What's Nvidia saying? I'm not looking the strongest. What's AMD saying? I'm not looking the strongest. What's Meta saying? I'm just breaking through these lows. Microsoft, I'm about to curl over into negative territory. So what could you say about the Qs now? Now with that information, 5-minute here is negative and a good red bar. You got that consolidation. Now you're saying, all right, we're going to test this low or go make a new one. That's what this is telling you right now. So see how I feel like this 30-minute should go up, or maybe on the SPY. I feel like this 30-minute should lead to a trend reversal. Well, now I know, hey, this is going the other way on me right now. So I need to be careful and get out of anything up here, because what could happen is we could come down to this low, maybe base out down here, and then I can get that position again. But Apple not looking pretty right there. 15-minute, even 30-minute, probably going to roll over here, right? We built up a little bit, but 15-minute looks like what I would pay attention to. If that rolls over, it is kind of game over for a little bit for Apple, in my opinion. Alrighty. So with that, that means most likely Google will pull back. We will see pull back, and that's perfectly fine. Let's go take a look at Google, see if that's suffering at all because of that. All right, that's turning over. What could happen here? 15-minute by the center line, curling over on the MACD. Maybe this structure is not going to hold up at this point. Maybe this isn't going to hold up. Maybe we need a better base because we didn't necessarily have divergence, and then we see that pop come later on. So even though you have those good 30-minute divergences, right, we have those, we can see how the 15-minute got towards the center line. We could do something like this. So now I would say, hey, I'm not going long anymore. I'm going to see if this wants to base out, and then I will take the trade in the future. Let me check some stuff. Checking lots of stuff. Yeah. Alrighty. And this one here. Let's see, we're always moving. We take a chance. Ooh, that was a close one, guys. We almost made a big mistake. Clerical error there. What is Google trying to tell me here? That is some selling, first of all. That could just, poof, that is some profit taken there. So yeah. We're moving. Took a chance on Google, didn't happen. So I think I'm going to stick with my plan for this week that I literally have written in my book and I already went against. I'm literally just going to see for the best trade this week. I'm not messing with anything yet. I'm just going to wait and watch all the craziness happen. And then at the end of this week, I'll probably have a good idea what position I want to take. What's the VIX been doing? Now it's probably turning up, right? You'd expect it to turn up a little bit here. Really, I like my 30-minute crossings. So now we're coming up into this area, 30-minute crosses into positive territory. So that's what you're looking for here. It's just telling you, hey, volatility can come back in. How much volatility? I would say we most likely get a lower high in the volatility at this point. Now, that's just because the SPY is tapering off pretty good. You have some divergences down here that are forming. So if we look at a 15-minute, you see the big divergence across. Maybe we just need a divergence in the near price action, which we actually have one on the RSI, just not at the same time for the MACD down here. So I would really like to see this, and then we explode. So we got to be quick with it. Apple not looking pretty on a 15-minute. Tesla not looking pretty, heading deeper into that zone. No divergence had to play out here. When things get very volatile, divergence is just not the play. Amazon, this thing, right? Similar thing, right? 15-minute could roll over negative territory. So now that we're negative, you see how every single rollover is really going to hurt these stocks. Meta, this one has a chance to be done right here, but if it wants to escalate, it can. But I'd really assume that this tapering is going to hold for Meta. Microsoft, starting to roll over negative territory. So I want to look at some weekly expected moves, most likely. Let's see where Microsoft could head to. As of right now, it could head a lot lower. So the weekly expected move for Microsoft, I wouldn't expect these moves before the earnings. These are pricing in the earnings. Okay, so if you're thinking, oh, Microsoft can go down to 370, it's like, well, it most likely won't go down to 370. They most likely will sit somewhere between like 390 and 405 until earnings, unless we see something crazy. But I mean, this just says curling down, negative territory, negative trend. Look at Microsoft; it's going to head down. So there you go. Now you have your reasons. Now it decided it for you about 10 minutes ago, right? Or 5 minutes ago. This bar right here breaks through here. All right. Now you're negative with some red bars. SPY, negative with, oh, you're not in negative territory yet. So this one here is still saying, and this is the one with the divergence. That's right. So this one here is still saying, am I that convincing? We'll find out. Maybe it has a 15-minute that curls over. But you notice how tight it's going to be. So it's just hard to take a downside trade here. That's why shorting in this area is still very difficult. You need a more sustained bounce, and then you can get a better position up in this area or something like that. Tesla still looking ugly. Nvidia, 5-minute. What's that doing? Well, it's up towards the center line. It just rolled over. It looks like it's flagging out on this downward move. We're probably going to see Nvidia head a tiny bit lower here. I was just going to say for the last time, something serious is happening at AMC. History is repeating itself, just like 2020. Be ready. Yeah, we're not interested, bro. I'm going to switch the... I don't even... Like, the thing is, we're not trying to get in on get rich quick schemes. We're trying to gain the skill to actually trade in a market. We're not trying to catch some pump and dump. We're not trying to do anything like that. So... I'm going to go ahead and switch the stream just in case. I don't know if he's a subscriber, but at least make him subscribe if he's going to sit here and spam. Like, just because you want people to buy AMC so that you can make money is not okay, dude. Just so you know. That is not a good thing to do to people, because you can cause people to lose a lot of money if you're wrong. Then guess what? They can't even blame you, so you're kind of a prick. Change this. I know how to change. Give me a second, guys. One moment. I don't know where I changed it to. I can't figure it out, but oh well, we'll just let you spam in there, dude. Just ignore it, guys. If you want to take a bet, an actual gambling bet, go for it, but not anything that I condone on this channel. Sorry if you are an ape and I get it, but I'm good. Here's your insight on some levels. I know, I can't. You guys, I have it on like Streamlabs, and I like haven't really fully done it on YouTube. I'm used to Twitch when I used to stream, so it's just like a little annoying, especially to do it while I'm live and things like that. I probably need to have weirdly enough, my wife used to be my moderator for Twitch, so I probably need her to moderate or someone to moderate. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave you on the SPY. I'm just gonna take like a 2-minute break, use the restroom, maybe get a cup of coffee. So I'll be right back in 2 minutes. Make sure during this 2 minutes, if you really want to take that course, it's only $149 for the next like 10 days or so. Just keep looking at that. But for now, I might leave you guys actually on Apple here for a second because that one looks pretty cool. So look at that, links down in the description for the course. But I'm going to take a short break. Be 1 second, and then TFC. Did you look at TFC? I'll mark it again when I come back, and I'll look at it. Thanks for subscribing. I don't know how to say your name, but Mr. Tran. And we're back. All right, TFC, let's look at that real quick. Sorry if there's baby crying, but she's a little, something's up. She's got a lot of mucus or something. Whoa! Okay, see, that is a reversal in trend here, so I would say cup and handle, head and shoulders, holy crap. Probably a pullback coming here. You can pull back down to 36.70 and then see if that just turns up. The good part about stuff like this is now you can see every single time this turns up on the 15-minute, you're in a positive trend, right? So I think that would be most likely scenario going on here. Now we do want to look at it on a bigger scale, daily, right? Oh, this is great. It's above the 200. It's above the 200. That's a great sign. So this positive trend most likely it actually could be pretty strong. So at this point, you could say, you know, start to head up like this over time. You actually can just look at this 15-minute probably, see a solid pullback here. This would be great. If this would pull back, I think you have a good opportunity. I think if it can pull down like this and scoot back up, I think that's a good opportunity, maybe right in here. And then you just have your stop loss, and then you have your breakout here, then you'd move your stop loss up to this point if it breaks through. Boom. So that way, if it's not some kind of trap, you're okay. But I think this is solid. I think the 15-minute is a great looking one. Now, the 15-minute looks like it's going to get that pullback soon, right? Doesn't look the best for an opportunity right now. But if you see that drift back down and curl back up, solid. All right, now the baby girl's a little upset. So I'm going to break down some of these stocks going forward, right? So we're paying attention to a lot of 5 minutes, a lot of 15 minutes. Up quite a bit, but I need to be careful. Thanks a lot, bro. You're welcome. This 5 minute is rolling into negative territory right now for the SPY. Now, this isn't as, this is decently controlled, but you keep seeing these random times where you flush. So just be careful here as you do curl over on this 5 minute. We can actually, now that we're negative, test this low or go make a new one. But you have to be worrisome if there's some kind of trap at this gap. What if they convince you that's going down and then that goes back up? So trading on a 5 minute right now, not looking the best. Probably better to just see if these 30-minute signals can play out or if this 15-minute can roll over into negative territory. If this can roll over, then I think with a great amount of probability, hey, if this 15-minute rolls over, it's going to be right here, most likely heading to the downside here. So if this 15-minute isn't able to roll over, I would say we fill the gap and then we actually turn back up. Now the Qs, little different story too, right? So if this curls back over, it's looking a little bit weaker. So we would say as of right now, the Qs are very, very likely to test this low. And the Qs actually are likely to head into this zone. And we're going to go through Apple in a moment. But yeah, this one here, if this curls down though, what could happen from here? Well, we might have a triple divergence down here. That could be pretty good. So we're just paying attention to that going forward right now. The 15 minutes still not crossed over. So remember, if this crosses over, most likely we're heading to that daily expected move. Apple here, this hasn't crossed over either. This could be some kind of fake out, but it looks very flaggy here. So right now you would say good probability to head down, but we haven't crossed yet. This is an I think. I don't know. I feel. I don't know. So I want to wait for this to cross. That crosses down. Okay, now's the moment. All right, boom. We can test this low. We can even go make a new one. Maybe down towards like a 162 or something like that. But if Apple wanted to base out from here, there's not a ton going on for Apple, right? Not a ton. You just have this wonky 30-minute divergence that's not even on the RSI, which tells me most likely this bounce will fade because they're not at the same time. So most likely this is going to at least test this low, get a better base before we head higher. That's lastly what I would say about Apple. Tesla just looks ugly as hell until you look at a daily. The daily is the only thing that says like, hey, momentum could shift here, but now this RSI is coming below this level, so even that's kind of not looking pretty. So just be very cautious. Tesla does have that earnings very, very close. Now, Amazon going forward, Amazon here dropping down again below the 50. Where could we react to? Well, we said over the weekend, 166.12. 166.12 looks like a good spot. But let's pay attention to the shorter time frames, the 30-minute here. What if this creates some kind of divergence? Just be open to those kinds of things. Always be thinking about how, even though it's a downtrend, how could we be bouncing? 15-minute, though, rolls over into negative territory. Hey, we're going to test this low. We're going to probably make a new low for Amazon if this 15-minute is able to curl over. So we don't want that to happen. Therefore, they need to turn this thing back up. So if you go positive here, good chance we're going to actually see that trend broken and see some upside, in my opinion. Nvidia going forward, strong move out the gate. Now we're pulling back. Are we going to flag on the shorter time frames? You can go into the short ones like a 5 minute and just see we're negative. We're kind of flagging at this point. Looks like we're kind of just building up for another drop. So I would just pay attention to that going forward. But if we just look at a 2 hour, this thing is extremely oversold still, right? Still oversold. So I would expect by sometime this week, even if we react down to say 748 or something, sometime this week, I think we're going to head up to this zone, up towards like an 832, somewhere between this in this zone up here, this little gray box. I think that 840, 146 will be important, but let's just erase that and use our little box here. Come up into this gap here where we broke down, come up into this area. I think you got a good shot for that. But when is that going to happen? Is it going to happen this week or is it going to happen next week? What the heck's going to happen? So 26th of April, as big results come with Meta, Tesla, Amazon. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. The commitment looks like it may be on the rise. Um, and it very well could, right? It still could, but I'm just stating on the 5-minute here for the SPY. It's still not looking the prettiest. Now, the good part here is you're not necessarily seeing a rapid sell-off. The Q's more getting a rapid one. I still think you have a good shot. Now the Q's come test this level. If the Q's start to curl over on the 15-minute, they probably head lower the SPY down in this area. Moving forward through, remember AMD, this thing, hey, it's starting to curl back up. AMD is at least trying to base out here, but I'd just be worried if something rolls over, right? We have 15 minutes that can roll over and things like that. No reasons to really take a trade just yet. Meta, this one here, creating maybe a 15-minute divergence. So Meta actually saying, hey, I have the potential for some kind of pop, which is interesting because we got that pop early on in the day. So that is very, very interesting. But right now, no real 5-minute stuff going on. I mean, yeah, you got divergence, but 5-minute divergence, take with a grain of salt. You're tapering here. We could see that build back up, but you notice every time we build up to a point, we fade. I just spat everywhere. We fade. So right now you're curling over negative territory. Just be cautious with that one. I want to see what happens before these earnings. Because we could see some kind of explosive move. Maybe if good earnings come out tomorrow and people take the bait on Meta, we'll have to find out. Going to be a tough week. Microsoft starting to curl down, but ooh, it might be saving itself at this point, which is funny because if you look at the RSI here, you would say, like, if I just create like a little trend like this, well, it wasn't able to get there. So there is room to come down. But as of right now, curling over negative territory, you would say the most likely direction here is down. It's going to keep this negative trend unless some funky business happens. Google, this one, the same thing. If that 15-minute wants to roll down, 153.87, still paying attention to this low down here. And I think 153.87 is the good line to pay attention to. So as this thing drifts lower, sure, we could be creating some kind of left shoulder. But as of right now, you'd have to say negative sentiment in the market overall. What if this just pulls down to this area? Then I can pay attention to what? Well, what about a double bottom, little divergence down here? We can look at that. So last thing we'll look at here is volatility. Let's go check out volatility for a quick moment. Boom. There it is. All right, so volatility, if this thing's really going to ramp up, you're going to see the 30-minute turn up and go positive, and we're going to see another downward move. So what does this look like? Well, in the past, what have we done? We built towards that center line. We popped. This one, we built towards the center line. We drifted lower, and then we popped a little bit. Boom. And then we drift right near that center line. We pop a little bit. Boom. Now we're drifting again. So you're looking for that next pop in volatility that could be here right now. So just be a little bit cautious if you're taking anything to the upside. Maybe look for some further out expirations if you're trying to catch this bounce because it can take time to play out. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining today. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to go spend some time with the girls. Remember that course, go grab it right now, right? It's $149 till May the 4th. We're going to do May the 4th. Be with you. So I really appreciate everyone who's taken it and told me that it's been very, very good for them and it's helping out their trades. And I'm just glad that everything's helpful and make sure that you can take that course multiple times. It's not like one and done or anything like that, but teach you about some indicators and give you a bear market strategy. But just want to say, I hope you guys have all the luck in the world trading the rest of the day, and I'll see you on YouTube later. All right? Peace.